the world is designed to get you trapped. The world is designed to tell you to think about yourself. And there are no signposts or triggers to say, go beyond yourself. Mother Teresa has a great saying that says, compassion, the art of going beyond yourself. And I think it's a daily practice. How do you go beyond yourself? It's, it is really, would you agree that it is a little bit like dying when you do that?
Hello and welcome to Get Yourself Optimized. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer. It is my pleasure to have Agapi Stassinopoulos with us. Agapi is a best-selling author and speaker who inspires audiences around the world. She's author of Wake Up to the Joy of You and the new book, Speaking with Spirit. She also has a Mind Valley quest or course called Speaking with Spirit. She was trained in London at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and received her master's degree in psychology from the University of Santa Monica. She teaches meditation and facilitates workshops for Thrive Global, a company founded by her sister, Arianna Huffington, which changes the way we live and work. Her previous books on the Greek archetypes were turned into PBS specials. Agapi, it's so great to have you on the show.
It's so wonderful to see you, Stephan. And here you are in sunny Miami, and I am here in cold New York.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm just very grateful to have you on the show. We've met years ago, and I know you've got this new book out, Speaking with Spirit. What inspired you to create this book?
Well, this book is sort of a sequel to my book before that, Wake Up to the Joy of You, 52 meditations and practices for a calmer and happier life. And I discovered all my life, basically, but especially during the pandemic, the power of your inner connection and what it takes to really be more connected to your higher power, to your spirit, to God, to whatever we want to call it. Mark Nepo, who is an amazing poet. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's I feel like a national treasure that people don't really know a lot. Before he does his workshops, he always asks people, do you believe in a higher power? Do you believe in something larger than yourself? And pretty much everybody raises their hand. And then he says, well, now we know we're all mystics. Because that higher power is that something larger than ourselves that is incomprehensible, unknown, and yet all of us strive to know more of it. And I wanted to really connect with Agapi's inner spirit more deeply. And I told my publishers, I said, I want to write a book about prayer, but prayer beyond an denomination. So it's not prayer that's religious, but more the devotion and the reverence about your life force. So the way I saw that was that if you take everything that happens in our lives and the challenges that we have, all of us, and if we bring them to the table every day and ask for guidance, that takes a certain centering, that takes a certain devotion, a certain way of you got sort of like you stopping your to-do list and you go into your to-be list. And that's what I call prayer, that you're now in your being. And in that place, you then commune and listen, and you ask and you listen, and you have this incredible, powerful relationship with that higher power. And again, Stephan, as I said, I allow and I ask people to name that for them. To me is the spirit. For other people is your high power. For other people might be the universe or the one or the I am. But something that takes you beyond your Agapiness personality or your Stephaness personality. There is the conditioned being that Stephan is and Agapi is and everybody who is listening to us. And that's, your story, your patterns, your ambitions, your desires, your needs, your hurts, your disappointments, the whole kibosh of human conditioning. We all have it. The body, the mind, the emotions, and then you take all that and then you go beyond all that and you come into the presence. So this book was inspired by that principle. And then I worked diligently and I worked very devotionally during the pandemic because I got a contract to write the book, and bang, the pandemic happened. And then I was in Los Angeles with my family, locked down, and I had to write this book. And I was going through an incredibly hard time because and you've met me at the conference we met at the World Domination Summit, and you know what an extrovert I am, right? And not only am I an extrovert, but I'm a Greek extrovert, which makes me a triple extrovert. It's like I need to have that connection with people, to, whether it is going to the coffee shop or meeting with my friends, or I'm interacting all the time with people. And whether I'm teaching or whether I'm speaking, that energy to me fuels me. So suddenly that did not exist, right? And you couldn't even say hello to anyone. You couldn't go to a shop to even get your cup of coffee. So I had to go inside, and at some point I'll have to read one of the prayers. It's called Finding the Extraordinary in the Ordinary. So I had to really stop in my tracks, Stephan, and say, okay, I don't have the outer, but I have the inner. And can I go deeper into the inner? Can I really build that so that it becomes alive and real? And I started to write about everything that was happening in my life right there and then, and bring it to the table and ask for help. And the Spirit always came in my tears, in my upsetness, in my incredible anxiety about what was going to happen. Spirit came and comforted me. Spirit came and calmed me down and gave me answers. Stephan, it wasn't easy, but at the end of it, I came in with a toolbox, so that even now, when I go through a difficult thing, or when I'm sad, or when I feel an obstacle, or I feel I don't know what to do about a certain situation, I go, Agapi, Agapi, stop. Take a piece of paper, take your journal, take a pen, and ask Spirit to tell you what to do about this. So, what I've learned is that communication got unlocked. And the book is really about these 52 subjects that are, very, very human. Because if I may just, read you some of the chapters: the sweetness of doing nothing, the gifts that lie in between times, in the eye of the hurricane, finding calm in crisis, resetting your balance. Yes, you can kick the worry habit. When you shut others out, you shut yourself down. Our divine right to heal, to thine own self be true. You are never really abandoned, and on and on. You get what I'm saying? Forgiveness, the greatest gift of all. Gratitude, the key to happiness and fulfillment. How to navigate being an empath, living with a sense of timelessness, which I love. I love to read you that prayer afterwards, living. So this book was written from that place. So I actually read it myself now to remember, because part of being human is the forgetfulness. We forget.
Yeah. You know what I learned about forgetfulness and about remembering is that the stuff that you remember is by design, by divine design, and the stuff that you forget is also by divine design.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
I was getting divine assistance from a particular very righteous rabbi. I had visited his grave in Israel, and he followed me home. His soul followed me home and had been helping me for months. And
Wow.
then I got kind of full of myself. Spiritual ego is the worst kind of ego.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that vibration was not compatible with his, and so he left, and then I couldn't remember his name anymore. I still can't because he's gone.
That's incredible. Could you ask for forgiveness and reverence and come back and
Oh, he's left, and that ship has sailed. But I did get a message to him. I asked Archangel Gabriel to relay the message of my gratitude and uh, my request for forgiveness and all that. And I got that, there's nothing really to forgive. It's just that, this was a lesson you needed to learn. Consequences. That's we live in a world of consequences, law of cause and effect. So yeah, I got to be humble.
I love that you're sharing this story because the spiritual ego is a real trap, and it's very insidious. It can sort of creeps in because there you are, you're thinking of, I'm doing all this good work and I'm sharing this message about God, but look at me, how great I am. And I have a friend of mine, and who is a beautiful healer, and helps clear energies, and he's a very very humble man. And he said on his desk he has this saying that says, "On my own, I can do nothing. It is through the power and the glory of the Spirit that I do everything." And I remember a long time ago when I was about to speak at a big conference, and I had just written this book called Unbinding the Heart, which was about how to find the power of your open heart. And because that was my journey, how I found from my locked heart to unbind my heart. And I was about to speak. And up until then, Stephan, I've been speaking about the Greek goddesses and the archetypes and doing monologues and acting on stage. And that was a very different vibration. It was a script, so to speak. And suddenly I was about to speak from my heart. And that was a very different way of speaking than getting up and telling the stories and the monologues of the goddesses. So I was very, very nervous. I was actually shaking because when the power of the spirit comes to speak through you, the ego and the personality and the body just shakes because the spirit is so powerful. And you're going to be sort of taken over, and you have to let the spirit, or you end up feeling like egg on your face. You feel like I it's about me rather than the higher spirit. And I remember I was talking to my friend and I said, "Can you help me? I'm just really very nervous, and I have butterflies in my stomach." And he said, "Before you go on stage, just put your hands in your heart, close your eyes, and say, 'This is for you, Lord. It's you and me. I'm offering this to you, and I go beyond myself.'" And something happened that was so beautiful to me. And I think you saw that when I spoke at the World Domination Summit. Something happens when you allow that, you go, it's really like it's like a death. You kind of go beyond yourself. You bow down, and then you're grateful that you allowed the spirit to take over. And I know the times when I have made something more important, like, oh, I hope people will like me, or so and so is on the audience and I need to impress them, or something comes in where you now are you, and you don't allow that greater spirit that basically doesn't care who is in the audience, what people are going to think of you, what you're going to say, because it's free. And I know it was so painful when I did that, because the ego and the personality took over. So I know the difference, and so I thank you for mentioning the spiritual ego. And it feels when I don't know about you, but when you are in that stuff, it feels like you're imprisoned because you are in your individuation, you're into your personality. And Stefan, it's not easy. It's really because the world is designed to get you trapped. The world is designed to tell you to think about yourself. And there are no signposts or triggers to say go beyond yourself. Mother Teresa has a great saying that says compassion, the art of going beyond yourself. And I think it's a daily practice. How do you go beyond yourself? It's I mean, it is really, would you agree that it is a little bit like dying when you do that?
Well, might feel like it. My understanding of dying is that it's like, and I love this analogy. It's from Ram Dass. It's like taking off a tight shoe.
Tight shoe. I love it. Thank you. That's so beautiful.
So I don't think it's like dying, but I think it feels like what we imagine dying to be.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. So, how can we optimize ourselves? You tell me.
Well, one thing I think that's really relevant to our conversation here about developing your relationship with God through prayer, through personal prayer, is a Hebrew word, and it's hitbodedut. It means essentially conversing with the Creator in a informal, unstructured way. So you have structured prayer, like the Anabacoa, which I'm wearing this necklace that has the 42-letter name of God on it. It says Kabbalah, and it's the basis for the Anabacoa prayer, the most powerful prayer in Kabbalah.
It's called Anakabo. What is it called?
Anabacoa. Yeah.
Anabako.
Anabacoa. Gudalati micha tatir tsarawa. I could say the whole thing because I do it twice a day, morning and night. But that's a structured prayer. So is the Shema Yisrael, and there's immense power in using structured prayers. It's the Our Father or the whatever your prayers are that for your religion are the go-to prayers. They're amazingly powerful, but they're also very structured, and so you're in this kind of box of structure while you're saying them. Whereas with just a kind of stream of consciousness prayer where you're talking to God like a friend, this gives you the ability to be real and raw, and no pretenses, no worrying about dogma or ritual or structure. You're just open, and that gives you, I think, the best ability, this is my opinion, the best ability to receive the guidance. So when I'm doing what I call the God journal every morning, where I'm writing to God, telling him things I'm grateful for, so it's a gratitude journal written to him, I'm also writing down as part of that what messages I'm getting from him.
You said written to him. Why do we always say that God is him rather than she?
Well, it's both, and it's everything and it's nothing. It's all of it. God is all that ever existed and ever will be. God is all that is. But for I think it's just convention. I just am following convention. So I could say her, but I'm a male. You're a female, so it'd be a lot easier, I think, for you to write her than for me to. It's just how we're raised. But yeah, God is so much more than we can possibly imagine. So much more. I mean, it's incomprehensible, like literally incomprehensible for us as humans with brains to grasp even a small percentage of God's immenseness.
So I love what you said about a free floating, a free form prayer. And that's what I felt I started to do with this book, writing these words that flooded me. And now they've become like in the middle of my day I will always open up to that guidance. So it's not like, structured, but it is, it can be so minute. It can be like, oh, we are waiting for this delivery for the mattresses for the baby. Ariana has an amazing grandson who is pure light, and you're in his presence. He's 14 months old, Alexander, and he just looks at you, and when he smiles to you, the universe opens up. I mean, there are no words. But they say, we ordered his crib, and they're being delayed, and we want that to be in Los Angeles when we arrive. So I will then go automatically into a moment of prayer or asking the light and say, um, please allow this to be delivered earlier. And so you say, well, but agape, that's so minute. Look what's happening in the world. But spirit doesn't discern. Spirit is in the detail. It's absolutely in the detail. I mean, there was one day I remember I was at my home in LA, and I was feeling very off and out of balance. And sometimes we have these days or these moments where you can't find your grounding, and you feel like a buoy in the ocean, going. And I went, wow, what's going on? And I couldn't almost grasp my centering. And I really literally heard spirit that say, go to the cleaners and take your jacket there. And usually the cleaners pick it up from our home. And I literally took my car and drove to the cleaners, parked, gave it to and I ran into a person, Stephan, that I had not seen literally in 20 years. And this woman said, oh my God, I am so happy to see you. And she was going through a hard time. She had just lost her mother. She practically fell in my arms crying because the grief of what had just happened to her. And I said, I can't believe you're here. And I went, wow, wow, wow. How did that happen? It's like at that moment I was able to be of service to someone else. And it completely, spirit used me. And if there's a prayer, really is, Lord, what would you have me do? Lord, what would you have me do? And so I think before we started a podcast, I shared with you that if there was a message that I would leave behind if I was to leave this earth tomorrow, which I hope I don't, because I love this earth and I love people and I love my life. But I would say the message would be, how do you restore the trust in yourself that you're never alone and you are worthy to hear God's message for you, to be in conversation with the beloved, to open up and to ask for everything and test it. Just really test it, because so many times people come to me and they say, but Agapi, I feel awkward praying, or I don't know who to pray to, or I meditate. Is that the same? Sure, everything is a form of prayer. My mother used to say, washing the dishes.
Yeah, absolutely. Washing the dishes can be prayer. Oh, if you live your life from a place of intention and awareness, your entire life is a prayer, your whole life.
And start where you are. I mean, you don't have to come in your best, in your looking your best Sunday morning.
Oh, my spiritual ego would say, yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. What?
My spiritual ego would say, yes, indeed, I'm living that way. But it's that's the trap. That's the spiritual ego trap, that you think that, wow, I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm walking in both worlds at the same time. I'm living life, my life as a prayer. But when you think that, then you're not.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. There is and there is also something about taking in the goodness of you, and the joy of you. That's why I love singing and dancing, because I think when we sing and dance, we are beyond our minds and beyond. We don't live in our heads. And what really traps us is that we start to live in our heads and we think we're so bloody important.
We're all equally important.
We're equally important, and what is this great, I think it was Thich Nhat Hanh who said, I have two stones in my pocket, one that says I'm everything, and the other one that says I'm nothing. But we do have an ego and we do have a personality, and we have to use it, because if you wake up every morning and you think you're nothing, you're not going to want to do anything. So I'm nothing. So why should I exercise? I'm nothing. Why should I make anything of my life? But that doesn't work that way. It works like what I do to serve the spirit and my spirit. And I think that's the shift, that is so beyond words, because it's in the essence, right, Stephan?
Yes, and it reminds me of something, some Kabbalah wisdom I learned, and that is that pebble that you hold that's in the one pocket that's represents I'm everything, is for the times when you are being of service to others. You're in a place of I need to channel God in this moment, so I'm everything. I'm all that is.
Exactly.
And then when I'm ready to receive something, like, oh, I really need a check instead of a bill to arrive in that mailbox, then it's time for the other pebble. I'm nothing. I'm nothing, because if I'm just a pauper, I'll take scraps. Please, God, give me anything right now. I'm really needing you. I surrender. I give up. I can't do this on my own. Then you're coming from a place of humility, true humility.
Exactly. True humility and true royalty and humility.
Mm,
Because if we saw ourselves in the spirit of who we are, we would weep from how glorious we
yeah,
are in the
yeah.
spirit. So to feel like you are royalty. So I always say, when you dress, dress for the radiant you. So you honor that part of you, and then you honor it in everyone else. So it's a very we walk a very fine line between the two.
Yes, we do. Yeah, what a great conversation. I'm really enjoying this. And one thing that I learned that relates to this thing of being that person of service who comes in and saves the day, like you did for that person, that woman that you hadn't seen for 20 years, is you volunteered and said to God, and however you said it, please send me. And that's from Isaiah 6:8, and I learned that from a book. So Bruce Wilkinson wrote this book called "You Were Born for This," which I read with kind of a study group, entrepreneur group of men, and we all read it together, and then we would meet every 2 weeks, Friday mornings, to discuss what we had read that had happened in our life. So in the book "You Were Born for This," there's this framework for becoming an agent, a delivery person for God, where you volunteer, just like Isaiah did when he was at the feet of God, interrupting a board meeting where all the archangels were getting their assignments. And here's little Isaiah holding up his arms saying, here I am, please send me too. Right.
Oh my God, that's a beautiful story.
So we can do that too. We can do that too. And that's something I've incorporated into my morning routine. My morning ritual includes me imagining myself at the feet of God, raising my hand, saying, "Here I am, Lord. Please send me."
Oh my God, I'm just getting the chills. Please God, I'm writing it down. And I love this book. Please God, send me. Oh, I'm sorry right now. I'm not sorry. I'm just getting the chills all over.
Well, that's I used to call that goosebumps, but I was corrected by a spiritual person. I forget who. He said, no, that's God bumps. That's God bumps, or angel bumps is another way to refer to it. So what's happening is when your angels want you to know, like, hey, underline this one, get out your yellow highlighter. This is important. Then they give you those goosebumps.
That's so beautiful. And the book is called "You're Born for This."
Yeah, you were born for this by Bruce Wilkinson. So he's a Christian author, So if somebody's Jewish or whatever, then they could still read it, but just not take on board the Christ-related.
Did you say Brian Wilkinson?
Bruce Wilkinson, yeah.
Bruce Wilkinson. Great. I'm going to I'm going to put that on my. I put all my little favorite sayings on my closet door. So as I open my closet, I see them there.
Yeah. So
And I
it's
have my
originally
own.
that is from the Bible, from Isaiah 6:8.
Please God send
Yes,
me.
here I
And
am, Lord.
Isaiah said,
Please send me. So that is Isaiah having an out of body experience. He's astral projecting into a higher dimensional realm. Now he's where the angels, the archangels, and God are. So he was a very uh, elevated being, Isaiah. Amazing. And so he had that ability to go there. And yeah, they're getting their assignments, and he wants one too. So you can be a pizza delivery guy for God.
how about a slice of love for God?
Yeah, and so if somebody needs a hug, or they need you to just hold them because they lost somebody, or they need that.
They are lost themselves. So many people are lost. And I always say, when I'm feeling lost or people are feeling lost, don't start talking to them about why or when or how. Just hug them, because there's something about the hug, the connection, heart to heart, that completely opens you up. Stephan, when people often say to me, I don't know where to find God, or I lost my faith, I go, well, if you close your eyes and you go, my God, I have 36 trillion cells that are making me right now. And I have no idea how these cells are formed. I don't even know what a cell looks like. But to have trillions of 36 trillion of cells, that in itself is stops you on your tracks. And if you ask yourself, who is breathing me? Because we actually do not breathe ourselves. We receive our breath. And right now, let's just come present with Stephan and Agapi and whoever is listening to us. Put your hand in your heart and don't take your breath, just receive your breath. And as you exhale, exhale any parts that doubt, any parts that says, but I don't know. And as you allow the next breath to come in, feel it coming through your nostrils. Feel that oxygen in your body, in your brain. And as you exhale, bow down, literally bow down, and feel the presence that Stephan and myself have been talking about here. That presence, you can look at it like a golden light or a silver light or a white light that comes over you, embraces you, surrounds you. And any worries you have, any concerns, any projects, any financial difficulties, any health problems of yourself or someone else, place them in this chalice of a golden light. And whatever words come to you, say, I offer this to the higher power. I offer this to the divine. I offer this to God. And I go free. And I see this resolved. I walk in peace. I walk with the beloved. And now just imagine that your hand that you have in your heart is the beloved's hands in your heart. And when I say the beloved is the soul of who you are, So you move into a kindness, into tenderness, into the essence of you, and any spaces in your heart that feel tight or shut down. Maybe there's some bitterness there that didn't happen and that didn't happen. Just feel the light going in and opening up very gently the closed domains in your heart. And receive the breath and just say thank you. Thank you. There's so much that I don't know, but I'm willing to grow, to learn, to see. And I just love. And tell yourself, I love you. I love you. I thank you. And see that energy just going out of you and thanking people around you and thanking God for your life, for the miracle, the absolute amazing miracle of your life. And when you open your eyes, see if this light that we brought here is more alive in you. So simple when it comes through, right?
Yeah, it's all very simple, but it's also necessary when you have a life where you're just forgetting to allow the breath to be received and allow the miracles to come. And you think you're doing it on your own, and then you push everything away.
That's right. So, can I read to you this finding the ordinary, the extraordinary?
Yeah, please.
So, this was, as I said, when I was asking for help from the Spirit, and I said, Dear beloved, all my prayers start, Dear beloved, because I feel we address that soul, which is called the beloved. One of the greatest joys in my life is feeling your presence as I connect with others by speaking, inviting other people to participate in my heart's expansion. And recently, I have been feeling the absence of my connection with you and feel I am lacking in that magic from which I converge with my spirit. So I ask now that I may find new ways to engage, move my body, be present in the minute of my life, in the miracle of the now of my life, and awaken to the aliveness that I have in me. I ask that I may remove the resistance, the limitations, and stubbornness of wanting things to be a certain way. When things don't happen that way, I cave in. I shut down and I blame you, the world, and myself, and then fall into doom. Instead, I ask that I may again find the magic in the ordinary, that everything in this world, as hard as it may seem, it's still wonderful and awe. For whatever reason, my ego and my sense of self move into righteous indignation, and God forbid I might miss the awe that I so seek in the simplest of little things. The trees still grow upward, and I'm able to walk on this earth through the law of gravity. And even that is a miracle. And the earth still moves around the sun in perfect motion. And how amazing is that? There are invisible worlds of millions of stars and planets that are all moving in perfect relation to one another, and they don't seem to collide. The ocean meets the shore in perfect rhythm, even when it's turbulent and stormy. Let me wrap my mind around all of that and know that I too have perfect harmony within me. So be it.
Hmm. Beautiful.
So, part of it is really coming to God with whatever you're going through and putting the words there. Now, I happen to write a lot of words, and poetry comes to me like easy, but you can just write anything. And I think the writing, the pen and paper, not the computer, is very powerful for the brain, right, Stefan?
Yes, and I when I write in my God journal every morning, I'm writing in a remarkable tablet using my stylus.
Using your stylus?
Yeah, I use a stylus. Instead of a pen or pencil, it's just a stylus pen for a computer, but it's for my remarkable tablet, which is different from an iPad because it doesn't have all the distractions of an iPad. So I'm only doing my journaling in there and note taking. I'm not surfing the internet or reading books or anything with it.
Do you keep it? Do you keep them or do you delete them?
Oh, I keep them absolutely.
So it's a tablet where you write by hand.
Yeah, and it stores all of it, and I can access a copy of my writings on my phone or any other device that has the app on it. But yeah, I usually am reviewing what I write on the tablet itself, and then I see what I wrote, what messages I received earlier in the week or the week prior, and so forth. And just like you can open a book, like you were reading from your book, there's a term called bibliomancy, where you can just open the book seemingly randomly, but you're doing it with intention, and it takes you exactly to the part of the book that you needed to read to the listener. And you can do that with your journal too, for your own private writings, and say, "All right, God, take me to the journal entry that I need for me to take action on something that I didn't do, or something I need to remember or know."
Well, and also, one of the things that I love to do and I encourage our listeners to do is to ask before you go to sleep. I to really ask your unconscious, which is your subconscious, your God power, what do you need help with? And especially for me now, because of the Christmas season and for a lot of people, I start to get overwhelmed and lose my joy because we have this and that and we have to take care. I mean, my list of all the things to do, and I go, may I hand over this list to you, and tomorrow as I wake up, I mean, divine harmony of doing everything with my joy and you're about to do something and something says, get up and walk around, or get up and go have some water, have something, so that you don't become on automatic, but you are in service to the spirit, which is more important than anything. To me, it's like my mother always used to say, have that essential connection. To me, is more important than the to-do list, or to say no, or to actually say I can't. When people say, "Can you do this?" Okay, and sometimes I put my list and I go, "Why do I want to do this? Why do I need to call this person back? I don't."
Well, it reminds me of something again I learned from that book by Bruce Wilkinson, is that if you're living in the land of good works, there's no room for you to live in the land of miracles. So you don't have time or the space to deliver God's miracles if you're just doing good works and everybody else's to-do list every day, just operating off of what's coming into your email inbox.
Yes, yes. And so many people, Stefan, are so trapped about really living that way. And then they suffer from mental health or depression. But that's to me, I mean, depression and anxiety is when we're not living in the truth of who we are. I have a saying here that I wrote in my journal I want to read, that was said to me one day. We will look back at this existence and be astounded that we spend our precious life worrying about success, how people like us, if they don't like us, our appearance, and millions of other trivial things, rather than focusing on every spending, walking moment, awakening to the divine soul of who we are, learning more about our divine nature, learning how to love, how to open our hearts, and the light within. we will be astounded. Why did we do that and not walk the path to know the beloved in us?
Beautiful. This was such a great conversation. I'm bummed we have to wrap it up because I know you have to go. If our listener wanted to learn more from you, they wanted to pick up some of your books, take your Mind Valley Quest, your course, or just follow you on social media, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, for social media, is my Instagram, Agapi Sees, Sees. For my website is wakeuptothejoyofyou.com, wakeuptothejoyofyou.com. Um, Feel free to email me at my email, which I'll give to you, which is Agapi, Agapi, at unbindingtheheart.com, which is the title of my third book. And I will send you some of my guided meditations as my gift. And the book is on Amazon, which I am very proud, and I love this book so much. And the Speaking with Spirit, and of course, any other bookstores. I love supporting independent bookstores. You can ask your local bookstore to bring it to you. And my Mind Valley course, I'm very proud of. It just launched. It's a 6 hour course called Speaking with Spirit, Overcoming Your Self Doubt and Trusting Your Inner Guidance. And it's really 17 videos, lessons, where every lesson takes you through an exercise, a practice, so that you learn how to build that inner muscle. And if you don't have a membership to Mind Valley, you can sign up for $99, which is just for a month. And there are many, many wonderful quests. And if you have a Mind Valley membership, you can see it right there. You'll see me speaking with Spirit, and would love you to take that course. I pour my heart and soul into it, and it has lots of wonderful, wonderful wisdoms and guidance and inspirations. So stay in touch. I send you so much light. Stay in the light, stay loving, keep your heart open, and then life is beautiful. Just um, love, love, love.
Yes. It's not just doing, it's a being, right? You are love, right?
You were born to do this.
Yeah.
A new title. You're born to
Yes,
do
you're born
this.
for this.
Love that. Well, Stefan, I love talking to you. You really enriched my day today by talking to you, and it's so wonderful to reconnect with you. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you to all our listeners. Optimize yourself by optimizing yourself, capital S, capital E, capital L, capital F. That's the self we want to optimize, right?
Yeah, your higher self. Awesome. Well, thank you, listener. We'll catch you on the next episode and have an amazing, beautiful, heart opening week. We'll catch you on the next episode. I'm Stephan Spencer signing off.